Okay,
Okay,
we are on air.
let's start. So, Ashish, it was a great idea to share a knowledge of both of us living in London and New York with a fellow people who aspire to be here, be in the and succeed in the tech industry. So let's see how this goes. I can maybe start with a small intro about myself, and you can also do the same, and then we can go into some
Yeah, yeah.
deep questions. So I'm currently working as the director of data and personalization with one of the biggest, largest retailers in the UK called John Lewis, and my role involves very much working with business, data, commercial, and IT teams to drive a lot of commercial value using data insights. Education-wise, I did my MBA from the UK when I came here for work, and then I've been here since then. So that's a small intro about me. Tell everyone about yourself.
Yeah, perfect. So I think first of all, I hope the podcast that we have started, so it's able to help people. And the idea that we basically have is that generally, specifically people like us in India who are say, studying or who just started to work and majorly काफी लोगों के aspirations होते हैं. So and a lot of people really don't have anyone to guide them. So if we are able to share our experiences and able to help some of them, जैसे मेरे पास नहीं थे ज़्यादा ज़्यादा क्या बिल्कुल भी गाइडेंस नहीं था when I was studying. And I think we have known each other for like what 12, 11, 13
Yeah,
years.
13 years. Yeah,
2011, right? We started
exactly.
working together in UK actually, right? UK में पहली बार मिले थे
Leads me, yes.
Leeds में. So very quick intro about myself. So again, like I have been working in data science or data related industry for 17 years now. That is the overall experience I also have. Currently, presently, I'm working with Google in New York City as a in the data science area and basically taking care of ads operations, data science area for Google team. But I think that is majorly all. I can talk more about कि पहले क्या हुआ, क्या नहीं किया. I
बिल्कुल.
think शायद वो इतना important ना हो लोगों के लिए.
Um,
So
um,
so net, I think going back कि basically from where we started, from where our journey started, I think हम दोनों का पहला stint था outside India.
yep.
2011 हम दोनों पहली बार UK आए थे. I think we both were very new in the as a in the corporate world, working and trying to figure out life. शायद 3-4 साल का experience था, very new in the industry और very new overall and thankfully हमें UK जाने का opportunity मिला. So actually I wanted to ask you कि when you started out, मतलब I remember like but I want audience also to know कि जब in India when you were studying तो क्या challenges थे और उसके बाद when you started working तो उस time पे क्या challenges थे, good thing, bad thing, whatever, and like how you landed into the UK and since like last 13 years
Yeah,
I've seen you grow and seen you like become or reach where you are. तो वो शुरू के क्या challenges थे इंडिया के अंदर, क्या किस किन चीजों ने हेल्प किया, लोगों ने हेल्प किया सिचुएशंस में, तो थोड़ा सा उसके बारे में बात करते हैं.
absolutely. But I think not turning this into an interview, but the first thing is ki our conversation is very English, mix of Hindi and English. So just focusing on that audience, and if there are people who don't understand
Yes.
part of it, apologies for that. But so challenges that time. So engineering करने के बाद मेरा सबसे पहला outcome ये था that I don't want to work as a software developer because मुझे business ज़्यादा पसंद था. So and then thankfully I was one of the very few people who could understand कि शुरू में what you like and what you love doing.
Yeah.
मतलब time से in my first job, falling in love with SQL, working with data, SAS पे codes लिखना. I used to love like just sit in the blade server room of the company and do the ETL migration overnight jobs. Like those were the days I started, if I remember, go back to those old days. And I really enjoyed all of those, like how big the data was. But तब अवेयरनेस नहीं थी इतनी कि डेटा
Mm.
बड़ा आगे जाके big data and then AI and
mm,
what it
mm,
will turn into. But I
yeah,
enjoyed what I did, and
yeah,
टाइम एक्सपोजर नहीं था कि यूके जाके
mm,
कुछ कर सकते हैं, या फिर it just happened that this assignment came through Inductis and we came here. But that time it was, the challenges were primarily around awareness कि क्या क्या opportunities हैं. कोई मेंटरशिप नहीं थी, कोई मेंटर फोरम नहीं थे, प्रोग्राम्स नहीं थे, ऐसे पॉडकास्ट नहीं थे जो हम लोग कर रहे हो, जो और रेडली
mm,
अवेलेबल है.
mm,
Overall, I think एक structured career path नहीं था. There were
yeah,
people who were success stories and you would look up to them, but there was
yeah,
nothing that you could actually like create your success path based on exactly all the data points you put together. तो वो
mm.
एक unstructured journey थी, I would say. What do you
So
think?
net, हाँ मतलब I think काफी similar I would say, but I think net what you said कि generally if I have to summarize that in one line is कि you basically ended up into an area that you loved working in. So you basically started from a place कि मुझे सॉफ्टवेयर इंजीनियर नहीं करनी है, तो ऑल्टरनेट्स ढूंढने हैं, लेकिन ऑल्टरनेट ढूंढते ढूंढते जिस एरिया में यू फाइनली लैंडेड, यू स्टार्टेड लाइकिंग और यू प्रॉब्ली लव्ड वर्किंग इन दैट
Exactly.
एरिया. आई थिंक काफी सिमिलर है मेरा भी. मेरा थोड़ा अलग थोड़ा सा डिफरेंट इसलिए है कि मुझे थोड़ा आइडिया था कि मुझे किसी ऐसी चीज में जाना है, और वो था कैट से. तो हम कैट के एग्जाम दिया करते थे, राइट. तो कैट के अंदर देयर वाज वन सेक्शन ऑफ डेटा सफिशिएंसी और डेटा इंटरप्रिटेशन, राइट. सो डीआई. तो वो मुझे वो वाला सेक्शन बहुत पसंद था. और दो आई वॉज नॉट एग्जैक्टली एन एमबीए एस्पिरेंट, क्योंकि मुझे बड़ा क्लियर था कि मुझे कॉलेज के इमीडिएटली बाद एमबीए नहीं करना है. मुझे
Right.
कुछ साल का एक्सपीरियंस, मैं फाइनली एमबीए नहीं किया, लेकिन उस टाइम पे मुझे बड़ा क्लियर था कि मुझे कुछ साल के एक्सपीरियंस के बाद एमबीए करना है.
हाँ हाँ.
लेकिन फिर भी सारे दोस्त और बैचमेट्स अराउंड देते थे, तो आई ऑल्सो यूज टू बी लाइक अवेयर ऑफ क्या है कैट के अंदर. मैंने दिया भी था कैट एक्चुअली.
हम लोग बात
तो
इतनी बार एमबीए का, इंडिया में एमबीए, बाहर एमबीए, आई थिंक
एग्जैक्टली.
as well, but you didn't go.
हाँ, तो मेरा कभी अगेन आई वाज नॉट एबल टू काइंड ऑफ गेट टू अ सिचुएशन की जहाँ पे मुझे ऐसा लगे कि कुछ खास वैल्यू ऐड होगा उसका, जो मैं करना चाहता हूँ लाइफ के अंदर. लेकिन अब लगता है कि हाँ, करना चाहिए था. सो बट नेट गोइंग बैक टू दैट, तो वो डीआई मुझे बड़ा अच्छा लगता था. आई यूज्ड टू लाइक रियली एक्सेल इन दैट एरिया विदाउट डूइंग मच एफर्ट. मैं आई थिंक मैथ्स और इंग्लिश हुआ करते थे शायद, दो सेक्शन, तो उनके अंदर काफी मेहनत करने के बाद भी नंबर नहीं आते थे. और डीआई के अंदर बिना किसी मेहनत के नंबर आ रहे थे, लाइक 99.9 टाइप परसेंटाइल
हाँ.
इन डीआई. तो मुझे वैसा कुछ था कि यार आई रियली लव एनालाइजिंग. वो तो स्मॉल डेटा ही हुआ करता था उन एग्जाम्स के अंदर, बट आई रियली लाइक दैट. तो आई वाज अ प्लेसमेंट कोऑर्डिनेटर इन माय कॉलेज. तो वहां पे मैं कंपनी से, मैं आई वाज अपेयरिंग फॉर दोस कंपनीज और नॉट, आई स्टिल यूज्ड टू इंटरेक्ट विद ऑल द कंपनीज विजिटिंग कैंपस. तो इंडक्टिस आया, तो जिसमें हम दोनों गए, बट दैट वाज नॉट माय फर्स्ट कंपनी आफ्टर कैंपस. So Inductis came to our campus, and I was doing mechanical engineering. So they were not open for mechanical engineering.
Hmm.
But I was still interacting with the interviewers or the team that came from Inductis, and I got to know कि यार Inductis काम यही करती है.
Hmm.
तो नेट डेटा एनालिटिक्स बोल लो या कुछ भी बोल लो, बट डीआई इज द बेस जो वो
Yeah.
लोग कर रहे हैं. एंड आई वाज लाइक, उस दिन मुझे लगा कि यार दिस इज व्हाट आई वांट टू रियली डू. दिस इज द कंपनी दैट आई रियली वांट टू गो. बट Inductis was not open for mechanical, तो वहां पे तो मैं जा ही नहीं सकता था. ई वैल्यू सर्व was a similar kind of a company जो
Hmm.
मेरे कैंपस पे आई, और they were
हाँ.
open for all branches, तो मेरा उसमें हो गया. और फिर मैं वहां चला गया, लेकिन वहां पे भी मतलब इट वाज मोर बिजनेस रिसर्च देन डेटा साइड ऑफ थिंग्स. एंड फाइनली गॉट
You
इनटू
came to Inductis,
Inductis.
so it was meant to
तो
be.
it was meant to be, and it was, I believe कि it was more about, वो होता है ना कि जैसे you're talking about कि यार if you actually love what you are doing, you are able to find ways, or life is able to find ways for you. So
Right.
I think in both our case it majorly was कि हम दोनों को पसंद था ये वाला एरिया. तो
Exactly.
हम इस एरिया में काफी खुशी खुशी काम करते थे. हार्ड वर्क भी 12-15 घंटे भी काम हो जाता था, तो खुशी खुशी करते थे.
बिल्कुल.
तो
तो टॉकिंग अबाउट द जर्नी आशीष, 17 साल की जर्नी बहुत लंबी होती है. एंड गिवन वेयर यू आर राइट नाउ, मतलब कभी भी किसी भी एट एनी पॉइंट, लेट्स से 8-9 साल पहले या 5 साल पहले, यू इमेजिन ये एक पोटेंशियल सिनेरियो होगा कि आशीष विल बी वर्किंग एज अ डेटा साइंस लीडर एट गूगल इन न्यूयॉर्क, वेल सेटल्ड, वर्किंग ऑन ऑल द कटिंग एज जनरेटिव एआई स्टफ. डिड यू एक्चुअली थॉट ऑफ दैट?
यार ऐसा तो आई बिलीव को मैंने तो नहीं सोचा था फॉर श्योर। और आई थिंक एट एनी स्टेज ऑफ करियर अगले 5 साल में क्या हुआ मैंने नहीं सोचा था,
हम्म।
फ्रैंकली स्पीकिंग। मैं नेट नेट अपने तो ड्रीम्स बहुत छोटे थे यार, मतलब व्हेन वी स्टार्टेड। मैं रिमेंबर आई स्टार्टेड इन 2007 8, so that time of India, it was like still very much in the nascent phase of the growth story that we see in India right now.
राइट। या
उस टाइम पे अर्ली 2000s के अंदर it was still very nascent phase of the India growth story, तो हमारे पास ज्यादा थे अपॉर्चुनिटी रिलेटिवली, हमारी प्रीवियस जनरेशन से काफी ज्यादा थे, लेकिन जितने आज हैं उतने नहीं थे।
और तब
राइट
तो वो
सो
भी था, हमारे हम तो उसमें भी ग्रेजुएट किए थे फाइनेंशियल क्राइसिस में 2008 2000।
फाइनेंशियल क्राइसिस शुरू हो गए थे, एग्जैक्टली। सो नेट नेट कभी यार ऐसा नहीं सोच सकते मतलब ये होगा या ऐसा कुछ कर लेंगे। फ्रैंकली स्पीकिंग, मैं आज गूगल में काम करता हूँ। गूगल 2007 में जब मैं ग्रेजुएट हुआ था तो लगता था कि अनअचीवेबल कंपनी है,
हाँ।
मतलब तो इट्स लाइक कि सोचने की जरूरत भी नहीं है उसके लिए।
सुनते थे ना, दस
तो
बारह इंटरव्यू होते थे गूगल में, कैंपस पे
दस
जाके
बारह
लोग।
इंटरव्यू और फाइनल इंटरव्यू फाउंडर्स लेते थे, एंड वो सब
हाँ
सिर्फ स्टोरीज होती थी हमारे लिए, और वो स्टोरीज ही थी कि यार हम तो नहीं जा पाएंगे वहां तक कभी। तो
बिल्कुल
ये भाई, तो बट नेक्स्ट आई थिंक वही है यार कि इट्स ऑल अबाउट कि इफ यू आर डूइंग व्हाट यू रियली लव, तो इवेंचुअली everything starts to fall in places. And even now I feel like what kind of um, what is the energy that drives me is actually every Monday I look forward to going to like work or doing what I have been doing for the last like 15, 17 years. So never has been a week जहाँ पे मुझे ये लगा हो कि यार इस हफ्ता छुट्टी हो जाता या इस हफ्ता मैं छुट्टी ले लूं या कुछ हो जाए। मतलब दैट इज द एनर्जी दैट काइंड ऑफ हैज केप्ट मी गोइंग ओवर दीज इयर्स।
ट्रूली लव योर
शायद
जॉब। कहते हैं ना कि इफ यू लुक फॉरवर्ड टू द वीक देन यू लव योर जॉब। आई थिंक
हाँ,
दैट
हाँ,
इज।
एग्जैक्टली। तो आई थिंक नेट नेट वही है यार। आई थिंक वन दैट इज वन की थिंग। देयर आर मल्टीपल अदर थिंग्स, अ लॉट ऑफ पीपल केम अलोंग हु हेल्प। I believe, if I'm not wrong, all the jobs I have changed after the first job from campus, there was someone who referred me who I used to work with,
बिल्कुल
and that really helped open the doors for like bigger and better opportunities.
बिल्कुल।
So you can call them as mentors or coach or whoever, but a lot of those people helped in this entire journey, I would say.
ये बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट पॉइंट आशीष। इनफैक्ट मेरे समवन आई लुक अप टू एंड वन ऑफ माय मेंटर्स टोल्ड मी दैट हैविंग अ राइट स्पॉन्सर इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट। एंड
Hmm.
हमारे कल्चर में जनरली ये एक गैप रहता है, लाइक पीपल डोंट
Hmm.
एक्चुअली लुक फॉर स्पॉन्सरशिप एंड इवन
Yeah,
स्पॉन्सर सीनियर लीडर्स don't actually go out and seek mentees that they would bring under their wings and
yeah,
support their growth. Like,
yeah.
do you think this is changing from our times to whatever it is right now? And I think this is one of the reasons, right? We hope that maybe this can actually be one of the areas that can help
Yeah.
people, mentors based in London, New York, or other areas reach out to other mentees, or vice versa. But what are your thoughts on that one?
I think change तो हो रहा है यार, मतलब I think specifically from where we were उस टाइम पे तो स्पेसिफिकली इंटरनेट के ऊपर भी इतने अपॉर्चुनिटीज नहीं थे। तो डेफिनेटली चेंज हुआ है इन लास्ट 15 16 ईयर्स। बट आई बिलीव कि वेस्टर्न कंट्रीज में जो एक कल्चर है ना
Hmm.
मेंटरशिप का, ओवरऑल जनरली गिविंग बैक टू द सोसाइटी, एंड इट्स लाइक इट्स नॉट फॉर अ स्पेसिफिक reason that they are doing it. It's ingrained in their lifestyle, right? From a very early age, probably
बिल्कुल
लोग वो चीज कर रहे होते हैं। बॉय स्काउट, गर्ल स्काउट उनके होते हैं उसके अंदर। या किड्स, आई स्पेसिफिकली आई सी इन अमेरिका, आई थिंक यूके में भी है। Kids very early on they become very independent.
हाँ एग्जैक्टली।
Like a 5-year-old kid wants to put up a lemonade stall outside their home to like fund their next
और
book
क्या।
that they want to purchase
बिल्कुल
and stuff like that. तो वो independence इतनी ज्यादा है यहाँ पे कि इसके कारण, specifically if you go to colleges, if you go to universities, even if you are going to the best universities, they are not giving jobs on platter. कि see a company is coming, just interview and just go and get the job. ऐसे इंडिया के अंदर वैसा अपना रहता है। at least, right? Which is
Right.
you get into a good college, you are short done की जॉब तो खत्म मिल जाएगा आराम से इजीली, कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है. तो हम कभी नेटवर्क नहीं करते हैं. हम we ourselves never try and reach out to senior folks for long term mentorship and stuff like that. वो चेंज हो रहा है, बट आई स्टिल फील कि there's a lot of opportunity. तो उसमें काफी अभी चीजें हैं जो इम्प्रूव हो सकती हैं.
Spot on,
तो
Ashish. That's a very
हाँ,
important point. ये mentorship वाला actually, like, I think changing a massively बड़ा landscape बन रहा है. There are a
हाँ,
number of forums that I'm also part of यहाँ पे, CPO CDO forums in the UK and
हाँ,
Europe as well. But I think it's more up to the mentors to be more proactive, and also for people listening, कि reach out to more people. It doesn't hurt to just send an introduction and ask specific question. Usually हम क्या करते हैं, पहले email पे job मांग लेते हैं, but just
हाँ.
ask the question, have and understand how their career paths they
Build
help
that relationship. हाँ,
more
which is
people. Exactly.
कि सब कुछ relationship based है. In the end, which is
Exactly.
like we both are talking and creating this because there's a relationship that we have built
Of
over
course.
years, right? So
Exactly.
I can come to you and say, Atul, यार मेरे को help चाहिए. Uh, I see like on LinkedIn every week there are like people like specifically students reaching out and like very point blank they'll be like, hey, we are looking for a job in
Yeah.
New York City or something like that, and can you help me? And again, it's like physically or like practically not possible for me to, even if I want to help all those people, there are like tens of people reaching every week, right? So practically आप नहीं कर सकते हो इतने लोगों को help, लेकिन हाँ, once in a while there's someone who would like start with something very different, which is, hey, I'm reaching out because I want to learn कि आपका career progression कैसा है. I'm
Hmm.
trying to build something similar on my side. So there is the only expectation that that person is having is कि यार 15 मिनट मिल रहे थे आपके एक्सपीरियंस से, I want to learn. एंड वहां पे वैसे हुआ है, मतलब मेरे करियर के अंदर पिछले 10 साल में एटलीस्ट दो तीन लोग ऐसे आई वुड से कि दे स्टूड आउट, जहाँ पे एक्चुअली हमारा कोई
Hmm.
रिलेशन नहीं था, बट दे रीच्ड आउट ऑन लिंक्डइन, देन वी कनेक्टेड एंड देन वी स्पेंड सम टाइम, एंड वन ऑफ द पर्सन इज स्टिल माय मेंटी आफ्टर like 5 years or so. I helped two of the people help get jobs in my whatever company I was working at that point in time.
Yeah.
तो वैसा है, आई थिंक वहां पे भी दी कॉमनैलिटी इन दीज थ्री पीपल वर, ये तीनों इंडियंस थे लेकिन ये बाहर पढ़ चुके थे या पढ़ रहे थे. तो आप शायद जब हम इंडियंस जब हम बाहर आते हैं तो वो थोड़ा एक्सपोजर हमें वैसा मिलता है, तो
बिल्कुल.
वो हेल्प करता है शायद.
Definitely. Definitely.
हाँ,
Makes sense.
तो तो नेट हाँ, मतलब बेसिकली गोइंग बैक टू दैट आर कमिंग फ्रॉम इंडिया स्टोरी. तो आई वाज रियली इंट्रीग्ड बाय योर वीजा स्टोरी, राइट, व्हिच इज क्योंकि वीजा आई बिलीव कि काफी चैलेंजिंग रहते हैं, स्पेसिफिकली people coming from say India or China, generally because a lot of people are coming from our respective countries. So I know your whole visa story, and that's really interesting how you pulled that off. So, madam, what was your experience in UK, specifically around visa and
Absolutely.
उसके बारे
तो
में? Yeah,
मुझे यूके में जितना टाइम हो गया, रफली 10 years,
yeah,
आई थिंक मैंने सारे वीजास देख लिए एक्सेप्ट स्पोर्ट्स वीजा. तो
yeah,
सारे वीजास देखने के बाद ही आई अप्लाइड फॉर आईएलआर. बट
yeah,
इंडक्टिस हम लोगों को आईसीटी वीजा पे भेजता था, व्हिच डजंट एग्जिस्ट एनीमोर, बट
yeah,
दैट वाज बेसिकली इंट्रा कंपनी ट्रांसफर. And then and then I switched to the student visa when I was doing my MBA. फिर
yeah,
MBA के बाद tier 2 general visa, that is a usual work visa that's sponsored by the employee with the constraint that you can only work with that employee. If you change jobs, the new employer will have to sponsor the visa. Phir, as you know, like I went to Germany, like spent time with the startups there, with Zalando,
uh,
the startup. Coming back, I had one thing very clear, because अपने दोस्तों को देख के ना मुझे लगता था कि स्पेशली अगर कहीं जॉब की प्रॉब्लम हो गई, कहीं कुछ हो गया, then they were stuck with a visa कि यार I can't, like they have to stay with the company for 5 years because I
yeah,
can't actually get a visa sponsorship elsewhere. So
yeah,
even if they're doing a job that they don't enjoy, they have to drag themselves to work every single day, and they would still do it because they have to get to that 5-year mark to be able to apply for independent leave to remain. And that is what was at the back of my mind when I was looking to coming back from Germany, कि मुझे वो situation create ही नहीं करनी अपने लिए. So
mm,
I explored the different options, and there is a visa called talent visa in the UK. जो उस समय it was a fancy name, tier 1 exceptional digital talent visa. So
yeah,
because I did my MBA in the UK, I had written some research papers, my experience in product management, analytics, e-commerce, ये सारी चीजें combine करके एक ठीक ठाक सी application मिल गई, एक दो recommendations लेके. So I came back, and that visa allowed me to work for 5 years without any restriction, without any sponsorship. कोई employer का कुछ नहीं चाहिए. And then
mm,
after 5 years, I could apply for ILR. That visa is now global talent visa, by the way, and
mm,
anyone who has technical skills can look at that visa. I tell this to a lot of mentees that I talk to as well. Ki explore that visa option, because that reduces the kind of limit on your capabilities, where you can apply or where you can work. You can also
mm,
do a startup on that visa. No one's stopping you, because
yeah,
technically you're contributing to the overall economy or capital, digital
mm,
capital, or whatever you're doing here. So
yeah, yeah,
the government sponsors that visa, and it's your visa, it's not a country visa. So I think that for me, that was the game changer in the sense,
mm,
wo visa gave me the freedom and to explore different things. So I did a couple of contracts with a different with different organization leads, maybe Kia London, maybe Kia, and then I'm
mm.
to a long-term role with BAT.
And आई थिंक ये बड़ा क्रिटिकल है, which is ना कि अगर मैं यूएस में भी देखूं तो ऐसे वीजा इज ट्रिकी एवरीवेयर राइट नाउ. यूके, यूएस, even like I think Canada and Australia are also becoming slightly
बिल्कुल.
tighter on the number of visas that they are giving. But specifically, I think number of opportunities जो यूएस और यूके में है उतना कहीं और नहीं है फिलहाल. तो
फिलहाल.
जो वीजा वाला तुमने बोला ना, टीयर 1 exceptional talent, and that is not tied to a job specifically and it's your visa and not a country or specifically. वैसे सिमिलरली यूएस में भी है. यूएस के अंदर मतलब थोड़ा डिफरेंट है कि आपको आप होते F1 पे हो विच इज अ स्टूडेंट वीजा, और H1B पे हो विच इज एम्प्लॉयर स्पॉन्सर्ड वीजा, लेकिन उसका ग्रीन कार्ड के क्यू लगने के लिए भी बहुत सारा प्रोसेस. तो वहां पे actually they have some categories like exceptional talent. You have done some research,
Right.
something that would be
Of course.
beneficial for the country. So
Hmm.
net the point I'm trying to make here is कि uh, a lot of us in India put a lot of emphasis on employer sponsored visas.
सही बात
But
है.
I think if you actually are doing good work, technically relevant work, doing research, doing advanced studies into your chosen field, it actually is probably easier to get, say, visas or green cards or PRs if you actually are on the advanced level of the area that you have chosen for yourself in terms of studies.
बिल्कुल. ये तो वो आपकी वो 3 इडियट्स वाली बात से तो हो गई कि एकदम कामयाबी का पीछा मत करो, अपने जो काम कर रहे
हाँ,
उस.
एक्चुअली मतलब वो मैंने देखा है यहाँ पे कि कि पीपल, अ लॉट ऑफ पीपल एक्चुअली जो अपने फील्ड में कोई भी मतलब सिविल इंजीनियरिंग में है या केमिकल इंजीनियरिंग में है, मैथ्स में है, दे आर नॉट सॉफ्टवेयर इंजीनियर्स सारे के सारे, और दे आर डूइंग एडवांस रिसर्च. आप पीएचडी वगैरह करते हो यूएस में या यूके में आके तो आपको ग्रांट्स बहुत मिलते हैं
एब्सोल्युटली.
गवर्नमेंट से. यू कैन स्टिल वर्क एंड बिकॉज यू आर डूइंग सो मच रिसर्च तो आपको you they categorize you as advanced talent or like special talent, and because of that there are many categories across the countries जहाँ पे आपको visas मिल जाते हैं. तो एंड दैट इज वन थिंग जो शायद मुझे बहुत ज्यादा नहीं पता था व्हेन आई वाज स्टार्टिंग अप. और शायद मैंने बहुत ज्यादा वीजा पे फोकस भी नहीं किया था. मुझे लगता था कि यार जिस एम्प्लॉयर को आई वाज लाइक अगेन नाइव एंड लाइक स्टार्टिंग योर करियर तो आपको नहीं पता, और मेरे पास मेरे घर में भी या फैमिली में भी कोई ऐसे गाइड करने वाला नहीं था इन चीजों के बारे में. मुझे लगता था कि यार वीजा का तो क्या है, बिकॉज एनी कंपनी who wants me, so they would sponsor, they would by
एग्जैक्टली.
hook or by crook, they will get a visa for me. But now I realized that I was thinking in a very wrong way. Because obviously, company would need you for 1 year, 2 year, and they are done probably after that, right? So, or you are done with them after that. But visa is something that as a person I need if I want to stay in this country for or any country for long. So I think वो सोचना चाहिए when students or when young professionals are trying to migrate from India to other countries. तो उनको
या.
थोड़ा सोचना चाहिए इसके बारे में कि which country they are planning to go to, what visa
Exactly.
situations that they have, how quickly they can get to a permanent residency or a green card kind of a
Right.
situation.
Right.
So those are critical things.
Definitely, definitely. So expand your search and research the visa on which in whichever country you're going to explore
Yeah,
every category that's out there.
yeah,
There
yeah,
could be something that's aligned to your profile and you're just not looking at it because you biased on one scenario.
yeah.
That was very helpful, Ashish. वीजा की बात होती है तो इमिग्रेशन इमिग्रेंट की बात होती है इमिग्रेंट की बात होती है तो लाइफ की बात होती है like how has been it living outside India? You've been in New York for like what 4 years now, and before that, California, thoda UK.
Yeah.
You've lived in 4 or 5 different places. Like summarize that in a few sentences. How has it been the entire experience?
Uh, Good, I would say. It's like I never planned for it. It so happened that when I started like with the journey, almost like journey of like living and working outside in 2011, like almost 13 years ago, there was no plan of like staying somewhere, which is like, hey, I want to live in UK, I want to live in US. It was majorly about because I was loving doing what I was doing. So it was all about that wherever the opportunity is, wherever there are good projects, I just go there. Considering obviously it's like visas and all those things are taken care of. So UK happened like you right, same time I think UK almost. So it was a good client, good work in Dr. Case. I loved working there for like 1.5 years. I got promotions and pay was okay, good, I believe. I don't remember the exact numbers, but it was good for that at
Ah,
that time
very
point.
good, yeah.
I got the offer from the client who was my client. I got the offer from them. I joined them. But then if you remember, so then I just stayed with them for 6 months
Yeah,
because
exactly.
the pace of work was so slow that for me it was like after 3 or 4 months I realized that I'll not grow in this company. They don't really want to do things quickly. Like a project I did and I was told by the stakeholders that hey, let's meet after 6 months. And I was like, I would not even remember मैंने क्या किया था 6 महीने बाद, right? And that was the pace that we were working in consulting companies, right? So,
Hmm.
and for me, it was very important कि यार कुछ grow करना है life के अंदर तो at certain pace आपको काम, and I was willing to put that much effort. So six
Of course.
months flat, like it was good pay, it was very
I
relaxing
remember.
job, and it was tier two general visa in UK. If you know, 5 साल रुकता तो मुझे PR मिल जाता. But I was like, this is not something that is meant for me. I have to like move somewhere else. तो मैं यूके में ढूंढा, जॉब्स नहीं मिला. 2014 की बात है.
हाँ, हाँ.
और मैंने बहुत ज़्यादा टाइम लगाया नहीं, मैंने 2 महीना ढूंढा है ना, मतलब कि मिलता है तो ठीक है, नहीं तो आई एक्चुअली वाज गेटिंग गुड अपॉर्चुनिटी बैक इन इंडिया. So I went back to India, joined Fractal. And with Fractal, I was happy in India actually and was doing good work with them. But 1.5 years into the job, we were starting the insurance practice. So कुछ clients आ रहे थे, अच्छे clients आ रहे थे in US. So eventually it so happened कि US के अंदर ही हमारा काफी बड़ा बेस बन रहा था इंश्योरेंस का, and because I was one of the starting members for that insurance practice in Fractal, so it was a good opportunity for me. I would not say company का ही benefit था, company का था, मेरा भी था. So it was a good opportunity for me to like relocate to Chicago actually. So I moved to Chicago. We had two big clients in Chicago and good work. I enjoyed living there. Coming for the first time to the US, I had good time. So it's been 7 years. I've been living on and off, which is Chicago. Chicago. Then I moved to California.
Hmm.
Google came along. Google हुआ, फिर उसके बाद there were some visa issues. I moved back to India. Then COVID happened, and then last year I came back. 2022 I came back, and this
Nice.
time then came to New York. So again, most of these things were not planned. It was majorly looking for good work और exciting work that I want to do, and उसके लिए जो changes करने पड़े I did that. तो वो वैसा रहा, लेकिन it was overall good यार, मतलब I enjoyed living and working in different cities, colleagues from different
Definitely.
countries, different projects, different
Uh,
type of work and all that stuff. So,
Definitely, I think इस मामले में your experience is more diversified than mine. मतलब I basically stuck to one country in nearby area, so Germany and
But you
UK.
also went out, na, from
I
Sweden.
went to
You
Germany, yeah.
spent some Germany. You spent some time. You also went to India for some time, right? In
Exactly.
between,
Yeah. I was
and I think
exploring startups for some time.
yeah,
कई मतलब and I was about to ask you कि अब 10 साल में जो इंडिया जितना ट्रांसफॉर्म हो गया है, मतलब हमारे दिमाग at the back of the mind you always look at the growth that's happening in India, and I don't know about you but I always keep thinking, what if I take my skills to India and actually do something there? I'm sure you probably grapple with the same question all the time as well. Like
yeah.
anything that you, and this is probably a question that all of us, all the NRIs living outside India ask ourselves almost every day.
I think that is true, and there is, in at least from my perspective, I feel the opportunity is definitely there in India. I believe most of the people living outside like us, NRIs, and who did their at least bachelor's in India, we have some friends or some ex-batchmates who are doing some startups and doing very well, right? So वो story सबके पास है, and it basically I believe in last 5 to 7 years it has come so close to you now, which is the story is not of a friend of a friend. The story
Exactly.
is now of your friend,
हाँ,
which is right कि तुम्हारा दोस्त है मेरा बैचमेट है. It's not कि अतुल ने मुझे किसी और का story
हाँ,
बताया.
exactly.
It's like कि I know this person from the last 20 years.
Yep,
This person
yep.
was doing X number of things. Now from last 5 7 years, this person is doing. I have um, 5 people in my very close, like, not like friends, but I used to either study with them or work with them, so I know them. I know them personally.
Batchmates.
I
Yeah.
batchmates. I still chat with them, right? So वो लोग वैसे हैं जो उन्होंने startups किए हैं, and they have done really well in their startup now, being in India. तो I think सबके लिए वो सब NRI जो हमारे साथ के लोग हैं उनके लिए काफी रियल सा हो गया है कि यार कुछ तो हो रहा है इंडिया के अंदर डेफिनेटली, एंड इज देयर अ पॉसिबिलिटी कि हम भी कुछ करें. मेरा पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू ये है बिकॉज मैं थोड़ा इंडिया गया पिछले, जब से 13 साल में मैं बाहर काम करना शुरू किया. आई स्टिल हैव गॉन बैक टू इंडिया एटलीस्ट ट्वाइस
Right.
एंड लिव देयर फॉर लाइक एटलीस्ट 1.5 2 years. तो
हाँ,
मैं आज नहीं कर सकता बिकॉज माई सिचुएशन टुडे आई हैव किड्स. तो इट बिकम्स वेरी डिफिकल्ट विद किड्स टू मूव एंड टू एक्सप्लोर न्यू कंप्लीटली न्यू थिंग्स. इंडिया जाना, it's completely fine, at least from my perspective. Um, but going to India and then trying to do startup, probably very difficult for me considering where I am in my like stage of life with kids growing up, with financial requirements and all those things. So, but I I feel ये बहुत real एक scenario है, बहुत बहुत सारे NRIs के लिए जो
बिल्कुल.
काफी लोग contemplate भी कर रहे हैं. But I feel कि it's like या तो you are still single, yeah, you don't have kids, so it becomes slightly easier for you to make those changes and explore that. uh, or yeah, your kids are old enough, they're in colleges and stuff like that, and you have already made so much
Of
money,
course.
it's slightly easier for you to like explore that, go back. I've seen cases where like in California, a couple of the like senior colleagues I saw, which is they moved to India, they explored doing a startup or working with a startup for 1 year, अच्छा नहीं लगा, they came back, right? Or even with very young colleagues, 4 5 साल का experience है and
Hmm.
not married yet, no kids, so they moved back. Or even living in the US, they started working with some startup remotely that is based in India, to just to get a flavor of it. So वो सब चीजें हो रही हैं. तो I think हाँ, definitely there is something definitely going on in India. कुछ exciting हो रहा है, but challenging है. It's not so easy to like pack your bags, go back and do it. And
It's not.
secondly, I think सबसे बड़ा पॉइंट है जो बहुत लोग हम मिस कर देते हैं और जहाँ पे शायद मेरे को थोड़ा ज्यादा अंडरस्टैंडिंग है, बिकॉज आई shuffled between India and outside at least 2 or 3 times now. If you have lived outside for a long time, right? So even if not for you, specifically for your kids,
Hmm.
it becomes very, very difficult to accustom yourself to the ways of life in India. चाहे आप कहीं पे भी रहो यार. मतलब यू इंडिया के अंदर अब बहुत कुछ हो गया है, गुड़गांव में,
बिल्कुल।
बैंगलोर, हैदराबाद, मुंबई, यू हैव condominiums के communities बने हुए हैं, and international schools are there, and upmarket places are there for you to hang out. But ठीक है, हाँ, yes, those things were not there. I have experienced those things, but still, अगर आपके बच्चे यहाँ पैदा हुए हैं और यहीं उन्होंने अपना सारा स्कूलिंग किया है और अब वो टीन एज में आ चुके हैं, it becomes very hard for them to
Course, of course.
to go back to India and like start
Talking
living
about
there.
challenges, I think यहाँ पे रहना भी आसान नहीं है आशीष.
Hmm.
Challenges are every day. Like
Yeah.
घर पे, ऑफिस में, मेरे लिए सबसे बड़े challenges होते हैं, to be very honest, are like doing everything by ourselves.
हाँ,
Like
वो तो सभी के हैं. वो
house
तो
help, house help
हाँ.
होता है. Office में भी encounter there is some sort of biases that we come across sometimes,
Hmm.
some racial biases or what. UK में तो नहीं है इतना, given like there are a lot of the entire country is now more cosmopolitan and a lot of people from Commonwealth have come. You, how are things in US? Like, do you see, have you had any racial experiences office में या कहीं पे?
यूएस में तो नहीं है. आई थिंक यूएस तो आई फील कि like जैसा ये है, कंट्री बिल्ड बाय इमिग्रेंट्स फॉर इमिग्रेंट काइंड ऑफ अ सिचुएशन है. तो it actually feels very, 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 very comfortable from that perspective. No biases as such. The only bias that probably US has is towards hard work. Because
Of
if you
course.
are hardworking, you would go places. Uh, if you are not, you'll probably still survive here, but you'll not get the rewards. तो जैसे यूके के अंदर मुझे फिर भी कभी कभार लगता था कि नॉट लाइक रेशियल डिस्क्रिमिनेशन एज सच, बट ग्लास सीलिंग्स होते थे. लगता था कि यार हाँ, मतलब कॉर्पोरेट
हाँ,
के अंदर मेजरली इट्स लाइक British origin people are there, so it might be difficult. Might be my own like own um, what you say insecurities playing out there, but यहाँ पे यूएस में कभी ऐसा फील नहीं हुआ. यहाँ पे
great.
feels very much merit based.
Of course. And how is it in terms of integrating into the society? जैसे आपको पहला घर खरीदना है, लोन लेना है, गाड़ी लेनी है, क्रेडिट कार्ड, इंश्योरेंसेस. यूजुअली मैंने जैसा यूके में देखा है, the prices and the rates I get as an immigrant coming from outside the UK comparing to a UK citizen are very
Yeah.
different. Because हमारी
Uh,
credit history वगैरह नहीं है, तो like do you feel the
yeah.
same in US as well? And are there any products that are serving that category?
So yes and no, which is yes and no, because you think about this, which is an American or someone who has lived in America or since a very early age or was born here. तो उनका जो पूरा यहाँ पे everything is based on your credit history or your
Of
history basically,
yeah,
right? So even if you are going for insurance, so what's the history, driving history that you had? So your history starts to build when you turn 17 or 18. The first time you get a driving license, the first time you get a credit card. Like probably a credit card much early on, 14, 15, 16 years of age when you are in high school or about to graduate from high school. So your history starts to build at that point in time. You have a like probably 10-year, 12-year kind of a runway before you start thinking about marriage and family and stuff like that to build that history. Or finally buying a house by the age of 30 or something. And by that time, if you are doing
right.
okay for yourself, you have a good enough history on credit side, on driving side. So your insurances are very low, your
Yeah,
uh, interest rates are reasonable. So when I came here first time in 2016, 17, uh, I had no history, right? So no credit history, for example. So went out for a car loan. I still got a car loan from some credit union, but it was slightly higher interest
of
rate,
course.
right?
Yeah,
Because it was like I had no history in this country, and my auto insurance rates were slightly higher than other people. But now, after like what 7 years, my insurance rates are similar to any American because I have a
very good history.
spectacular credit score, the best that is possible in America now. And I have a 7 years of no accident, no violations kind of a driving record. So my insurance is
Fingers
pretty
crossed.
low now. So all those things pans out. But again, it's not because you are an immigrant. It's just because
Right.
you don't have a history here. So
Okay. Okay.
just
That
like
that
that.
was
So
that
I
that
think
was
yeah, that is slightly different from UK, I believe. UK के अंदर it's still like even if you have spent few years, the history doesn't really matter much, right?
history
So
time लगता है. It also depends on your visa situation. I think UK
yeah,
is very visa dependent क्योंकि visa अगर time bound है तो that will have impact on your overall applications, loans
yeah,
हो, credit card हो, mortgage के rates में मैंने 1-2% का difference देखा है interest के for people who are on sponsored work visa compared to people who are permanent resident. तो वो बहुत
yeah,
different है UK में at least. So
yes.
it is different, yeah.
Cool, cool. I think shall we stop here now?
Sure. We shall
Uh,
stop. Baki, let's carry forward. Let's
I think
find
जो
next
अपना
one.
ये वीडियो है तो let me stop recording now.
हाँ.
तो जो अपना